Hey guys, so today I want to share with you a dupe that I think is pretty close that I found in my collection. Now, if you haven't heard of the brand Natasha Denona, it's a pretty expensive makeup brand, and she somewhat recently, and I say somewhat because, you know, it's one of her newer products, recently came out with the Super Glow Highlight, which is covered in my fingerprints. And I picked up the shade 01 Fair, and it's a gorgeous highlight. And I'm going to compare it with a Wet n Wild highlight that I think is pretty similar. The Wet n Wild highlight that I think is pretty similar is this one right here. And this is somewhat new from Wet n Wild as well. It's their Mega Glow Loose Highlighting Powder. And this one is called Written in the Stars. Now, the Natasha Denona highlight runs for $38, which is a little bit pricey, where the Wet n Wild one runs for $6.99. So you can find Natasha Denona at Sephora, and you can find Wet n Wild at your pretty much most of your drugstores. Now I'm going to show you how I applied them. I applied them with the same brush on my face today, and I'll give you a little bit of a comparison. I'll also swatch them on my arms so you can see them that way as well. But my initial thoughts are that the Wet n Wild highlighter is definitely more glitter. It has more glitter in it. It's going to give you more of that glittery shine. And it's a little bit more on the pink side, where both of them do give you high shine, but the Wet n Wild one is just a little bit pinker and has more glitter. And I've been playing with these highlights a lot, and they last on the face pretty much the same amount of time, which is amazing. I actually wore to work both of the highlighters, and no one said that either side of my face looked different, and I work in a makeup store, so no one noticed that I had two different highlights on. I wanted to kind of see if anyone would be like, what are you wearing? And then I could be like, this side is Wet n Wild and this side is Natasha Denona, but no one noticed a difference. So this is going to be a pretty quick video, but if you want to save some money, this is the Natasha Denona side, and this is the Wet n Wild side. Now, I don't know if it's going to show up as well on camera because the light is closer to this side, so the Natasha Denona one might get a little more light. But either way, I think they're both beautiful, very similar. You do get a little more product in the Natasha Denona powder. And of course, there's the obvious difference where the Wet n Wild one is a loose powder, where the Natasha one is a pressed powder. So both textures are very different from each other, but they both apply really nicely with the brush. I would say the Natasha one applies a little better with your fingers, where if you try to apply the Wet n Wild one with your fingers, it's not going to be as smooth, but both of them apply very nicely with a brush. So this is what the Wet n Wild packaging looks like on the inside. You can see it's got little stars, which is really cute as the sifter, and the powder comes up through that. Where Natasha's has a mirror, and as I said before, it is a pressed formula. The Natasha has 10 grams of product, where the Wet n Wild has 8. So there's Wet n Wild on my hand. How beautiful is that color right there? Now you can really see that shine. And I'm going to put Natasha right underneath, and you'll be able to see, like you can see on my finger there, the slight difference in tone and how Wet n Wild is more of a glittery texture. But the shine effect, look at that. Don't they look so crazy similar? It's insane. So a pretty quick comparison, but I wanted to share with you because I know budget buys are so important when you're trying to save money on makeup. And if you had been eyeing one of the Natasha Denona highlights and you really thought like, hey, the high shine is really what I'm looking for, and you don't mind something maybe pulling a little more pink, the Wet n Wild one is going to be so much less expensive. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed. I love you guys. Please remember to turn on your notifications down below. And as always, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye everyone.